Yeah.
Couple more minutes. Marianne and Danny wanted to go first.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
I thought Chris would just get everyone's attention unless Marianne wants to do that and then hand it over. I was looking for Marianne.
That is generally not what she likes to do. Danny likes to tell people what to do, though. I didn't have room because I was like struggling through how to do this. And I never run out of like stories. But there was coming in to like the first well, no, but the first day that we academic progress report of
Yes, the first conference.
and Mikey had like a 7-page single-spaced report about every one of his classes. Yeah, I wrote this down. By golly, we're gonna talk to every one of these.
Yes.
500 words about study.
Yes. Yes. Thoroughness was never in doubt.
You have one chance. I know that you like telling everybody what to do. So if you want to tell everyone to shut up.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. If I could have your attention, please. Hello. Hello, everyone. If I could please have your attention. If I could please have your attention. Hello, hello, hello. If I could please have your attention. Thank you, everyone, for coming for this celebration of Mikey's life. It's very sad circumstances that bring us here, but we want to be able to take some time in remembrance. And so we have a short program designed here, and we're going to start with some music from Ezra Holiday. Here we are. So we're going to hear from Ezra first, and then from Mikey's family, and then there'll be time for others to share thoughts about Mikey as well. So without further ado, Ezra Holiday.
I'm not sure how to follow that up. That was amazing. So I think you're either here because you know Mikey or because you know Mike or I. I don't know all of you, but it's very impactful to see all of you here. I'm going to try to read my speech. If you were there on Wednesday, it's going to sound very similar. I apologize. You'll just have to hear it twice. So I'm going to try to do that without crying. I want to thank you all for coming. It truly, truly means more to us than we can possibly express in words. The support we've received has been amazing. We have many families. We have our relatives. We have the family we marry into. Mike, Faye, Sarah, I love you guys. We also have the one we built over time, such as the colleagues and friends we've had the pleasure to getting to know, our neighbors, the Orchard School family, the Sycamore School family, and especially the University High School family, which has been an incredible source of support to our whole family this past week. As most of you know, my family lives abroad, and I want to thank them for making the trip here. To my dad, coming from China, to Detje, Carlos, and Barbara for coming from Belgium, to my family who could not make the trip, Mimi, José, Tasso, Valérie, and the rest, thank you for trying to be here for us. To Martine and Alice, our last two exchange students, you made the trip all the way from Guatemala for this, and that's, I mean, what do you say to that? Thank you all for coming. It means the world to me for all of you to be here. Also, Sophie, de ma meilleure amie depuis Jean 23, et en dépit de la distance qui nous sépare, je t'aime, and I love you all. Okay, I need a sip. I also want to recognize my son, Danny. This had already been the toughest year of your life. And I said this on Wednesday, but I can swear like a sailor. I will try to hold it back today. But the shit just piles on. You are the strongest person I know. Just like your brother, you're a shining light for so many of us. You make deep friendships, and I'm very thankful to your friends and Mikey's friends for being there for you at this difficult time. Just know that it's okay to not always be the strongest person around. You don't have to carry the world's problems on your shoulders alone. We're here for you, and we love you. You're the best son I could have ever asked for, and the best father to Finley. Mikey absolutely loved his nephew, Finley, and I wish Finley could have known Mikey as he grows up. Mick was the best uncle a kid could wish for. Mikey was a quirky kid. If you knew him, especially when he was like 3 years old or in his earlier years, he was gangly. He was all limbs. They were sharp too. If he came to you, like it felt like there was a knife against you. He was just skin and bones. He had to be taught how to throw a ball above his shoulder, and then once he figured that out, he was taught how to throw it underhand, and then he forgot how to do it overhand. So he did occupational therapy for a while. I never thought he'd be able to figure out how to tie his shoelaces, but he did. He was very uncoordinated. He ran into walls. I learned to yell at walls and blame them for Mikey running into them. He ran into a tree. Daniel is out here somewhere, but I know, Daniel, your mom gave him goggles for the next time that we had a Nerf gun war in our neighborhood. He dropped things all the time. I would hide it from my husband because, well, they're very alike. And I swear, one time we went to Meyer and he dropped a thing 9 times while we were there. It was quite amazing and impressive in a way. He struggled with small changes in elevation. If you guys were here at one of the concerts, I think there was a stage right here. I think it was Coffee House Covers, and he tripped, jumping off a 3-inch stage or something like that. But he was also incredibly smart. He taught himself to read at 2. I'm pretty sure he knew his letters and he knew how to read before he could talk. And we had nothing to do with this, by the way. That was all self-taught. He taught himself addition and subtraction when he was 3 or 4. I remember teaching him multiplication and division in the car between picking him up from Sycamore and then going to Orchard to pick up his brother. In case you're not familiar with that stretch of road, I looked it up. It's 1.3 miles. So in like 5 minutes, he figured out multiplication and division. Or I'm just that good of a teacher, but I don't think that's what it was. The kid was smart, but he never shoved it in your face. I actually don't think he really understood how unusually smart he was until this school year. He was also an incredibly talented musician and loved playing and making music, alone or with friends. And he gave the best hugs. Mikey didn't always fit in, but thankfully many people saw him for who he really was, a kid who will stand by you through thick and thin and who will have your back no matter what. And for that, I credit his friends and his brother for helping him learn to be himself and still connect with other people. Daniel, Brody, Lucas, Tristan, Ben, Finley, David, Connor, Evan, Dugu, Reese, Aiden, Ruin, Henry, so many more that are here that I can name. We were often worried about him. My husband and I often had conversations deep into the night on what would be best for Mikey and what we could do for him, and would he be okay at UHS, and would he make friends? And we didn't want to badger him on, did you meet some people today? Did you have lunch with people? But we didn't need to worry. He was very sensitive. He could be awkward. But Mikey knew he wanted to go to UHS for high school, and he refused to look at any other schools. We tried just to make sure that he'd explored his options, but he was like, nope. And he knew what he wanted, and sending both him and Danny here was one of the best decisions that we've ever made as parents. Mikey flourished here. He was such a different kid by the end of his time here. The school and the students saw him for who he was and what he was. The teachers and staff pushed him and encouraged him. You let Mikey skip classes so he could be challenged. You accepted him for who he was. Mr. Bradley, he was his mentor for the last 3.5 years. You convinced him to join academic team. Apparently he was also on Quiz Bowl his last year at Sycamore, but I don't remember this at all, so he might have hidden it from us. I don't know, I just learned this now. Avi, thank you. Although we forced him to join cross country as a freshman, all he had to do was put one foot in front of the other. We figured he could do that. Jamie and Ashley, you made cross country such an amazing environment that he continued doing it all 4 years, and he was going to run for Rose Hallman next year. You let him be himself and loved him for it. I'll always remember the band concerts, pep bands, cross-country races, track meets, coffee house covers, the kids hanging out at our house. This school was his life. You cheered for him when he went up on stage. We noticed, and he noticed. You made him feel loved and wanted. And as a mother, I could not ask anything else. This part is new, so for those of you who were there Wednesday. I want to thank Dr. Vesper. I don't know where you are, but okay, thank you. Both Danny and Mikey have enjoyed learning from you. Danny about the military, and Mikey about multivariate calculus. And for Mike and I, you have been incredibly supportive to us since Wednesday night and last week, helping any which way you could. There are many more people who have stepped up. To Elaine Brenner, I have never met you. I actually have some of your stuff. Thank you for organizing the meal train. To everyone who signed up for meals or given gift cards or reached out to provide support and check in, thank you. Thank you for all the beautiful pictures and the videos. I especially love the one with Mikey in AP Physics, laughing hysterically. Mr. Hogan, I'm sorry. You looked like you were really trying to hold it back there. I'm not sure how you did. But watching that video has given me an enormous amount of joy, so thank you. I'm almost done. Please honor Mikey's memory by being there for others, encouraging them, being true to yourself, and sharing the love. Mikey was never afraid to try something new. So forget your fears, forget your doubts. Go out there, try new things, push yourself, and the world would be a much better place if there were more Mikeys in it. So thank you.
I'm not as tall as my mom is, so. Not that I know how to use this anyways. Hello, guys. I'm Danny, which is Mikey's brother. I'm sure most of you know that, but just in case. I know I don't know all of you in here. And that's kind of what I'm starting off with, which Mikey would have loved having all of you here, not just because he had an effect on all of you in what I can only assume was a very positive way. He's a much nicer person than I am. But also because you had an effect on him. Dr. Vesper, any teacher in here really, Mr. Knox, who I'm sure is here probably doing some sound stuff. Yep, hi. You were the best band teacher I ever had, but also the best band teacher Mikey ever had, and really got him into a lot of band stuff and a lot of pep band, and that stuff was really big to him. If you ever went to a pep band game, which I hope all of you have, and if you haven't, you definitely should, you'll know that Mikey was pretty awesome at it, and he had, in my opinion, the best solos that any of us could have ever dreamt to have, to be honest. But all of you have done something to help Mikey, and my mom said it, but as a brother, I also really appreciate it, because Mikey always had friends growing up, but you guys were a lot more than that, especially the people, Brody and cross country. I can see you guys in that general area. You guys were really more of a family, and even Connor, who just joined last year, but you guys had such an awesome impact on him. He became this awesome leader, and honestly, if you knew Mikey 10 years ago, he was such a different person than he was now, and he definitely has changed a lot for the better, and that is only true because of you guys. You guys helped Mikey just as much as Mikey helped you, and I think that's an important thing for us to realize, especially for me, where as an older brother, I'm supposed to be helping him with homework, but if you know Mikey, he was a lot smarter than me. So oftentimes he would be helping me with our calculus homework and stuff like that. And so it's important to remember what people do for you as well as what you do for people. As I think, I helped him a little bit in some ways by bullying him and, stuff like that. And really what matters is that you guys are here and you guys are helping us celebrate Mikey, and I don't think we would get this type of thing at any other school, and no other community would be as supportive as you guys are. We have meals until the end of January, and we have over $1,000 in DoorDash, which is only like 6 meals, but still. But, you guys have set the bar for what anyone should be wanting in friends, family, and a community. And as I grow older, I hope that if I get people half as good and half as friendly and helpful as you guys are, I'll be extraordinarily happy, because you guys have been so supportive to Mikey and our family, especially right now. And I really hope that all of you keep doing what you're doing and keep doing things that Mikey would be doing, because if you do that, the world will get a little bit better. Also, Brody gave me a note on Wednesday that I was too easy on Mikey, so remind me that I need to show you guys some funny Mikey photos that he wouldn't want me showing you. Again, though, thank you all for coming. I don't know what we would be doing without all of you, and I don't know what Mikey would have done without all of you, because you guys even if you only knew him this year, even if you were only a freshman, you guys had an impact, and that really, really, truly matters. So thank you.
It's a tough act to follow. One of Mikey's favorite movies was Shrek, and though he identified much more as a donkey than an ogre, right? There's that quote that
ogres are like onions, they have layers. And Mikey had many layers. Everyone does. We don't know all of them, even our own. But Mikey had more than most of us, and one of them was just that he let us see so many of them. That's kind of a challenge, because on one hand, we've all done an amazing job of getting up here and talking about Mikey, and he made it easy with his big heart, his smile, his limitless talents, and his drive to use them. We've all done a great job of talking about that, but Mikey made it easy because he had a almost complete inability to hide his feelings about anything, right? Like, if Mikey felt something, you knew it. So on the other hand, what do we say about somebody who was very often an open book? Well, I'll try to say some things that haven't already been said, or maybe in quite the same way. One was that Mikey was full of surprises. Most of us knew him in certain contexts, as a son, a brother, a family member, a grandson, a friend, a classmate, teammate, colleague, math tutor for a while. We would think we appreciated his uniqueness, but I never stopped being amazed when he did something completely unexpected. They could range from very serious. When he went to Spain, a friend was in trouble, in real adult kind of trouble, and he couldn't contact the people on the trip. He contacted Mikey though, and Mikey, 16-year-old Mikey, figured it out and did the right things. Sometimes he was just really funny. Sometimes it was unintentional, but he would turn around and run with the gag. And as you know, he could run with a gag for a really long time. Donkeys, orcas, more recently, other things that are random and hilarious, but unfortunately can't be mentioned in polite company. He had a lot of funny things to say. And sometimes, something would happen and he wouldn't be very happy about it. Like before prom last year, he got a haircut and he was pissed. I looked like I just joined the Proud Boys. It was literally a very bad haircut. Danny refused to get a haircut afterwards. He was like, "Oh, we're leaving." But he owned it, and he and Danny topped it off by choosing the most outlandish possible tuxes, right? And somehow Danny totally rocked his.
No, Mikey.
Or sorry, Mikey totally rocked his. Danny, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry because also not so much with yours. But Mikey rocked his, and I kept being astonished at looking at the pictures of that night, how he popped up in so many pictures with this bright orange tux and this big goofy grin on his face, and his questionable ability to dance. So a layer of Mikey was to expect the unexpected. And another thing was his toughness. One of the most impossibly hard parts of this is that I know he would be very happy to see all of you, but your sadness and your sense of loss would make him feel very sad. If there was anything that hurt Mikey, it was seeing the people he loved and cared about hurt, and he he would like you to do the best you can, which is pretty hard for all of us, I know. Laugh, right, and keep going, because that's what he did. Nothing else hurt him. I guess it was obvious from his arsenal of T-shirts that would tell you that, right? I'm fine, everything's fine, it's fine. That was Mikey. Some of these have been alluded to. He would run into a tree and we'd hear, Mikey ran into a tree, he's bleeding. And we'd hear, I got a call, Mikey's throwing up. We need some help. And in the background of that call, I'd hear, it's okay, I can drive home, we're all good. And I'd go out to see little bleeding Mikey, and he'd say, I'm fine, it's not bleeding very much anymore, I'm gonna go back out and finish the game. I know a couple of years ago, he really struggled through a race, and his friend Charlie was struggling through a race too, and I could tell they were both hurting, and they saw that they were both hurting, and they finished it together. That kid was tough. Another of his shirts was "'Tis But a Scratch," right? The Black Knight from Monty Python. And a unique thing about Mikey was that he had that encyclopedic breadth of knowledge, that he knew Monty Python, but he knew that was a quote from Shakespeare too. And he could be Mercutio, who said it, making a joke even to his last breath, but someone who could be friends with all sides of an issue, and somebody who would stand up for his friends no matter what the cost. And much more often, he could be the Black Knight, somebody we were worried might be a little bit loony because how far he took things. The goals he set for himself and the intensity to which he took them was sometimes amazing. I know maybe during some of our talks with Mr. Bradley, he would say, "You realize how much Mikey is taking on, right?" And we would kind of say, "Yes," but maybe at first you thought that we were pushing him, when very often we were saying some of the same things at home. Are you sure you can do this? But he could, right? And Mikey, man, he loved to push himself. I think he wanted to surprise himself too. Can I really do this? Lots of us are really content to be smart. I am, right? Or we're content to be good at whatever we're good at. And one of Mikey's gifts, I think, is that he wasn't content. It doesn't mean that he wasn't happy, but I think Mikey was happiest when he was trying to do something that he wasn't completely sure he could do. He liked to know that he could surprise himself, and he liked to challenge. He got up there when he was 8 or 9 and had Sarah Sylvia Cynthia Stout Could Not Take the Garbage Out memorized, right? He'd play the hardest piece of music alone or on a stage in front of hundreds of people. And when he got good at one instrument, he would pick up another one, sometimes in the same song, which was pretty impressive. He made varsity, sectionals, he jumped hurdles. I don't know if he was ever afraid of that, but I certainly was. For someone who struggled with small changes of elevation, he mastered bigger ones. Half marathons, PRs. He skipped ahead years in math, in Spanish. He made his goals happen. As he grew up, his challenges weren't always as obvious, but they became more sophisticated. You know, how do I get my friends to do better? How do I get people to act the way they need to act? Sometimes he didn't succeed, and he was okay with that, but he loved a challenge, and he could be very hard to impress. So he wasn't content to do small things, and that was a good thing. One person who always impressed Danny was his brother. It was clear that Danny was always Mikey's hero. Mikey cried when he couldn't get on the school bus to go with Danny on the first day of kindergarten. That never really changed. You heard Danny speak, and I agree with all of the good things he said about Mikey, obviously. Mikey was a great brother to Danny. They pushed each other in some of the best possible ways. Those of you who have siblings know that that's not always easy to do, especially when Mikey's your brother. Another student, not Danny, once described Mikey as intellectually intimidating. Not intentionally, but just because he's very sharp. He was really hard to keep up with. But those of you who know Danny know that despite his sarcasm and his self-deprecating jokes, the ambiguous nature of his commitment to the issue of global deforestation, Danny's one of the very few who could keep up with Mikey. Danny says that Mikey was a leader and example of how he wanted to be, but the feeling was mutual. In so many things, they led each other, but a lot of the time, Danny had to do it first, and he did it really well. In particular, he was Mikey's best friend, his first friend, and he helped Mikey show Mikey how to build healthy relationships with great people. Danny has always been very good at picking his friends. That can be a hard thing to do. And he helped show Mikey how to do that. And he was a good example of how to be a friend and how to push somebody and how to build healthy relationships with good people. And Mikey took that up and figured that out and went out and found the best people that he could surround himself with. The math genius, the kid who was simply good at everything, the marathon runner, the master chef, the tennis star who could somehow talk through problems with Mikey, the astrophysicist, the kid whose quiet side gig that I never really knew about, seemed to be managing an entire IT program and keeping the school running, who, despite his deep respect for Mikey, also very hilariously called the senior crayon devourer when he decided to go to IU. No offense to all of you IU people, but they had a few inside jokes like that. The kid who's had his own problems, but when he saw Mikey was upset about something one day, he dropped everything, even though he had run a good race, and his entire focus was on helping Mikey. The Boy Scout, the Iron Man with a heart of gold, you guys know who you are. And all of that was great, but I just want to say that Danny showed Mikey how to surround himself with heroes who made his world bigger and better. He showed Mikey that while it's good to be bright, it was better to push himself and to work hard. Just being smart isn't enough. Danny took the most challenging courses. He moved out and lived on his own. He learned to cook even better, because he was always a good cook. He became a wonderful father to his son Finley, became a leader and got promoted in his job as a tutor, and dealt with some really inexplicable losses. Any of one of those things would have been overwhelming for Danny, but he's managed to do it all in the same year, and Mikey was in awe of him. And he would tell me that. And as we celebrate Mikey, understand that he had 18 years of having the best big brother a person could have. So Mikey was full of surprises. He was full of love, full of a desire to use his many gifts to make the world a better place. Even though he got to travel around the world and he was blessed to have this international family, it was a small place to him. He was not a big social media user, texter. I mean, he could. I am not sure that till the end, Mikey could completely use a telephone in the traditional way. But, you know, that was okay. What was important to him was his friends and family. And I thought of this and threw it in. If you've seen the Hangover movies, Mikey loved them, and you guys that were his friends and family were his wolf pack, right? I could almost see him giggling about talking that through and whether I should do this, but you know, he would sit here and say, at first there was just me. I was alone in the wolf pack, and then, could it be, I added another one. Man, he loved those movies. He had a really good sense of humor. I think that would make him smile. But ultimately, I just want to say that you were his world. You made his world bigger, and he tried his best to return the favor, and that's to be celebrated. One more bit, if I can get through it. Those of you who are parents know that this is about the worst thing that can be imagined. And as we celebrate Mikey today, we know that each one of your kids is your own Mikey, your own Danny, your own Finley. He or she are the fabric of your life. To lose a child is to lose a part of yourself, a huge part of the small world that you build for yourselves. Those of you who might be parents one day are probably looking at this a little bit differently, right? In many ways. You're young, and I could digress and tell you that you might feel like your parents think you're dumb or unreasonable or any of the other things that you think they think. They don't, right? Understand that amidst all of the good things that we celebrate about Mikey today and all of the good memories, you're Mikey to them. You're their world. So a piece of advice for you future parents, for you possible parents, and just for you young people in general, is one way you might look at this pain and this loss is to harden your hearts against it, to not want to endure the possibility of this kind of hurt, to not take the chance. And it's understandable. Under the best of circumstances, being a parent is the hardest thing you would ever do. Under the worst of circumstances, being a parent is really the hardest thing you'll ever do. But think about Mikey. He made the world bigger. He made our world bigger. He made our world better. And Mikey didn't avoid hard things. He sought them out. And when we talk about hardening our hearts, it's pretty unimaginable to imagine Mikey ever hardening his heart to anything. So someday, hopefully when you're ready for it, but even if you're not, think about him and make your life bigger. Fill it with love. It doesn't help yet, but I'm trying to remind myself of how thankful I am for him, that I got to spend the time that I did with him. And despite the pain, even knowing that it would be too short, I would do it all again. We didn't have enough time, but no amount of time would ever have been enough with Mikey. He was amazing.
Mikey loved this school, and he was a great ambassador for it. Our school has a mission, and when you say it in the abstract, it can really sound stilted. But when you think about Mikey, it is real because he lived it. To expand students' hearts and minds, and to nurture excellence in academic, creative, and physical achievement. Academically, Mikey was a star. He was on the high honor roll every semester, even though he took 14 different AP classes. He loved learning. His eyes lit up when working through a particularly intricate math problem, and there was no one who loved the academic team more. He was so enthusiastic about geography and scoring statistics. Creatively, Mikey shone through music. He played in the school orchestra, became a leader in the pep band, composed his own music, played jazz on the side, and learned to play the clarinet on his own because the pit orchestra for Chicago needed that instrument. I will never hear Take 5 again and not think of Mikey. Physically, Mikey loved running. He never stopped pushing himself, from constantly setting new PRs to completing the mini marathon. His cross-country team was his tribe, and he loved his fellow runners and his coaches. Mikey expanded his heart and his mind here at university. He was the truest embodiment of our school's mission. It was my honor to be his mentor and share conversations with him about everything from AI to music theory to word games. In the last 3.5 years, I got to see him grow in his confidence, his thoughtfulness, and his happiness. His loss is simply bewildering, and I will miss him deeply. At this time, if there is anybody else who would like to come forward and share any thoughts about Mikey, we would welcome it.
If not, you're also free to keep meandering.
But wait.
Oh, there is more.
Plenty more. So we heard a lot of wonderful things about Mikey. The family wanted people here to exchange stories like that. So I would draw your attention to the cards on the tables. They would love for you to sign. There's a guest book, but more importantly, to write stories about Mikey to share with them. I also invite you to look down the hallway at some notes that the students wrote about Mikey last week. And when we are done here, continue to share, right? But we also have to think about how to say farewell. And what we're going to close with, come on over, guys. So alum Matthew Alcantara, current UHS student Benjamin Alcantara, future UHS student Joshua Alcantara, and current student Miles Suarez Davis are going to play a song called Ashokan Ashokan Farewell. It is sometimes referred to as the most famous American Civil War song written in the 1980s. It was actually popularized by the Ken Burns PBS series on the Civil War, but it was written for the Ashokan Folk Music Festival. And at the end of the festival, the people who ran it kept on thinking, this has been a wonderful celebratory event, but now we are sad that it is ending. And they wrote this song explicitly to express the melancholy way they felt, saying farewell to everyone who participated. And so it seems a fitting way to end this part of this, though I would encourage you to continue sharing stories, especially to the family and writing afterwards. With that,
Ashley, did you want to, it looked like you wanted to say something, but I don't want to put you on the spot. So. Maybe now. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
The big thing? Yeah.